Nike is the world's largest sportswear brand. They earn around 1,000 crore rupees every day. World-class athletes like Ronaldo and Rafael Nadal use their products. Would you believe that the one who built Nike was a failed athlete himself and started his business by selling shoes from the trunk of his car? This is the story of Nike's founder, Phil Knight. Phil Knight was born in 1938 in a small town called Portland, America. Since childhood, he ran very fast, and his ultimate dream in life was to become a great athlete. In school and college, he worked hard on running and won many races. Alongside running, Phil continued his education, and in 1962, he completed his MBA. He still wanted to continue running, but one morning during practice, he faced reality. After dedicating his entire youth to running, he had become one of the best athletes in his state but could not reach the national or international level. Sadly, he was good but not great. He was 24 years old, and there was no scope to get better in athletics. That morning, Phil, with a heavy heart, accepted the end of his athletic career. He had failed in his dream of becoming an elite athlete but still wanted to do something that would keep him close to sports. Phil was deeply connected to his running shoes, like every runner. That's why he decided he would go into the shoe business. Starting up, he remembered that during his MBA, he had studied and written a detailed research paper on the business of running shoes. In his research, he discovered that Japanese camera companies, due to improved quality and low prices, had disrupted the American camera market. According to his paper, Japanese shoes could disrupt the US shoe market in the same way, potentially overtaking Adidas and Puma, the biggest companies at the time. It was a big risk to start a business based on a college project, but Phil had no other option. He decided to import Tiger brand shoes from Japan and sell them in the US. Tiger shoes were manufactured by a Japanese company called Onitsuka. Phil collected all his savings and took a flight to Japan. Finally, he reached Japan and got an appointment at Onitsuka's office. He was very nervous. A shy, introverted young man was about to partner with a big company. Moreover, the Onitsuka executive asked Phil for the company name at the start of the meeting. Without knowing why, Phil imagined the blue ribbons in his house, the same ribbons he had won for running races. He said he represented a company called Blue Ribbon. No such company existed at the time, but Onitsuka's executives liked the name. The meeting progressed, and Phil repeated his college project line by line. At the end, Onitsuka's employees were impressed and agreed that Phil's company, Blue Ribbon, could sell Tiger shoes in America. It was a deal. Phil gave them his address, asked for some sample shoes, transferred the money, and returned to America. For months passed, but no shoes arrived. Phil wrote letters, and Onitsuka replied that the shoes would arrive soon, but they didn't. Phil didn't give up hope but needed a job to survive until the shoes arrived. He worked as an accountant at a short firm. Nearly a year later, a customs notice arrived, 12 shoes from Japan. Phil collected the shoes, showed them to his college coach, Bill Bowerman, and explained his business plan. Bowerman loved the shoes and immediately offered to become a 50% partner. Phil was surprised. Bill Bowerman had been obsessed with shoes throughout his coaching career. He experimented with shoes, making them lighter, more durable, and better performing. He often borrowed students' shoes, modified them for days, and returned them. His changes could dramatically improve athletic performance. Bowerman was also a brilliant coach and a natural leader. Now, the same godlike figure wanted to be Phil's business partner. It was a no-brainer. They shook hands. Phil wrote to Onitsuka to request exclusive distribution rights for Western USA and placed the first order, 300 shoes for $1,000. This time, the shoes arrived on time. Blue Ribbon got exclusive Western USA rights. Phil quit his accounting job and stored the shoes in his parents' basement, which became Blue Ribbon's first office. He approached sports shops to sell the shoes. Everyone refused. He couldn't afford his own shop, so he had an idea: fill his car trunk with shoes and visit athletic competitions. He spoke directly to coaches, athletes, and spectators, presenting the shoes. The response shocked Phil. The shoes sold like hotcakes. As a former athlete, he understood their needs and problems. Within 2 months, he sold the first shipment of 300 shoes and placed an order for 900 more. But earnings were just $2,000, while the new order cost $3,000. For the first time, Phil asked for a $1,000 bank loan. Seeing the promise in Blue Ribbon, the bank approved the loan. Phil finally had a career he loved. Tough times. Then a twist came. A wrestling coach wrote that Onitsuka had given him exclusive American distribution rights and demanded Phil stop selling Tiger shoes immediately. Only 2 months into business, Blue Ribbon faced closure. Phil wrote to Onitsuka but received no reply. He flew to Japan to confront them. He presented his sales success and future plans directly to Mr. Onitsuka, who trusted Phil and restored Western USA distribution rights. Phil was relieved, but challenges continued. Blue Ribbon's first year brought $8,000 in sales. They hired Jeff Johnson, a passionate former athlete, to expand. Sales reached $16,000 in the second year. Phil wanted rapid growth, doubling or tripling orders. They reinvested all profits and took loans, but cash flow became negative. The bank refused further loans. Phil returned to accounting, investing his entire salary to keep the business alive. Meanwhile, Bill Bowerman worked on improving shoes. He realized Americans were larger than Japanese, so shoes needed modification. Bowerman combined the best features of different Tiger shoes and designed the ultimate distance training shoe, the Cortez. Onitsuka manufactured the Cortez, which became a massive success in the US market. Within 5 years, Tiger shoes, managed by Phil and designed by Bowerman, became one of the top shoe brands in America. Sales reached $1.3 million by 1971. Phil quit his accounting job and joined Blue Ribbon full-time. But trouble struck again. Onitsuka, seeing Blue Ribbon's success, became greedy. They demanded 51% ownership of Blue Ribbon or threatened to take US distribution away. Phil was shocked and hurt. Origin of Nike. Phil gathered his team. The time to sell someone else's brand was over, they would create their own. They broke the partnership with Onitsuka and began manufacturing their own brand. The first step was a logo. Phil wanted it to represent motion, speed, and victory while fitting the shoe's side. A graphic design student created several designs. Employees chose a curved logo, a thick check mark. Phil paid the student $35. Next was a brand name. Many were suggested: Falcon, Dimension 6. Jeff Johnson, the first salesman, suggested Nike, the Greek goddess of victory. The team accepted the name. Phil hired a manufacturer, sent designs, and launched Nike officially on May 30, 1971. At first, Nike was unknown, with Adidas, Puma, and Tiger as massive competitors. Phil used marketing strategies no one else had tried. Nike partnered with the best athletes, like runner Steve Prefontaine, for endorsements. Nike also hired salespeople who were passionate athletes, understanding customers' needs. Combined with Bowerman's design expertise, these strategies drove growth. By 1980, Nike had 2,700 employees and $270 million in sales, becoming America's largest athletic company. Phil had created the strongest athletic brand in the US. The endgame. In the 1980s, fashion trends shifted. Consumers wanted shoes that were not only strong and performing but also stylish. Reebok met this demand and surpassed Nike in 1986. Nike faced losses and layoffs. To survive, Nike chose Michael Jordan, an emerging basketball player, as a brand ambassador. They launched Air Jordan sneakers. Bold, stylish, and high-performing, Air Jordans revolutionized basketball shoes. Nike sold $100 million worth in the first year and reclaimed market leadership. Nike continued expanding globally in the 1990s, entering new sports categories. Today, Nike is the world's largest sportswear brand, valued at around 12 rupees lakh crore. Phil and Nike's journey is phenomenal. The biggest lesson is execution. Phil wrote in his book Shoe Dog, "Let everyone call your idea crazy. Just keep going. Don't stop. Don't even think about stopping until you get there." Nike's tagline says the same: just do it. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more amazing stories like this.